Welcome back to We Don't Judge Here, the only place where your worst decisions might actually make you more interesting. My name's Ellie. This is Ellie's World, and today we're getting honest, shameless, chaotic, and definitely concerning when I tell you about the story of my psychotic roommate. Yes, he was actually psychotic. That's why I'm using that word. What started off as a normal, innocent friendship turned into severe drug abuse, psychotic breaks, and the ultimate finale, which is gory, bloody, and way too dramatic. Well, the story starts in 2018. 2017, actually. I just come home from 6 months of traveling Europe. I had been kind of distanced from my last foster family. They didn't want to hear about me anymore. They didn't want to talk to me. I flew to Europe and I made some terrible decisions over 6 months. I was involved in not involved, not involved. I was around a couple terrorist attacks and almost became victim to some of them. So it's a scary time for me. So I was coming home just looking to reconnect with some friends, be around some people that I loved, and just kind of restart my life. I moved into what I knew was a frat house because it was on a famous street in the city that I'm from. A famous street for parties, police riots, because there's so many teens running around, and it's right by the college, so it's like a college street. I actually used to frequent this street in high school with a bunch of my friends because it was a doors open policy on this street. So you could just walk down on a Friday night and walk into any single door. It wasn't just left open, it was just unlocked. You could just walk in and find a party there and no one would kick you out. Even if it was like a gathering of 4 or 5 people, if you walked in, they would accept you in. Crazy time. I wanted to go back to this street. I was really big on my Coke benders at this time because when I was in the UK, living in the UK, I found a really good plug and what they're doing over there is different what they're doing in Canada. That stuff is pure. So I got kind of addicted to that. So I wanted to stay in my party element. Even if it wasn't cocaine, Molly, or anything like that, I still wanted to drink a lot. So this is the street that I needed to be on. That being said, I was broke as fuck. Broke as fuck. Right after I'd come home from Europe, I lived in like this temporary house for a little bit, but it was a lot of students. I didn't like it there. They hated me because I was such a big partier, and I just needed to move. I was being too chaotic, too much of a disruption to these roommates. So I moved to this party street. I couldn't afford my own apartment naturally. So I moved in with like 5 roommates. I had my own bedroom on the top floor. There was 2 other bedrooms on this floor, 1 bathroom, a living room, a communal kitchen, and in the basement there was 2 more bedrooms, both stocked to the brim with boys, like just like living in bunk beds or pretty much in squalor. I don't know why people in the basement always live like that, but on the top floor we had our own rooms. They had their own basement down there. That was where the laundry room was. It's kind of like a bungalow style house. There's a background or backyard with a little yard where we used to smoke weed. Kind of like a dingy little bungalow setting. The layout of this house is important for the story because we do a lot of running around in this house, and there's like a mini climax to this story that involves the laundry room in the basement. The first day I move in, I realize I'm the only woman in this house and it's all men. I'm fine with that because men give me a ton of attention at this age because I'm dressing for the male gaze. And I'm not outwardly presenting as a lesbian yet because I still really wanted that validation from men. I I really do think that stems from my father never talking to me as a child and then growing up being like, why on earth are men not looking at me? And then wanting to make them look at me. But that's a different story. On the top floor, there's 2 boys. One of them, let's call him Quinn. And the other one, we can call him Red because that's actually his nickname and not his real name. So Quinn and Red are upstairs, and then a slew of boys downstairs, and I couldn't tell you the name. One of them wanted to go by the name Cookie Monster because he really liked to eat girls out. That's what he told me. So Cookie Monster was downstairs. The first night, I'm like, let's get these boys together because this looks like a group that I can drink with. The downstairs boys are very separate from the upstairs boys. They also live completely different than us, and it's kind of like 2 houses in one. So I invite Quinn and Red to sit in the living room with me and just kind of drink. I also invite over a couple of my friends I haven't seen in a while, and we just kind of sit around the living room. After 2 or 3 drinks, I notice that Quinn starts to get really blasted, like really, really fucked up drunk. And I am a bitch at this time, guys. I'm like, what is up with this kid? I was like, Quinn, what's wrong with you? Can you not hold your alcohol? What the fuck? Uh, and I really brought attention to the fact that he was acting like an idiot in the middle of the room after like 2 beers. This is definitely bullying, I think. Yeah, absolutely. It was even if it wasn't bullying, it was fucking mean, but I didn't care at this time. Well, he actually ends up liking the attention even though it's like negative because all the people in this room are low vibrational. So when I started to kind of make fun of Quinn, everyone else was kind of down for it because you know when you're low, you surround yourself with other low people so that you don't look so bad, blah, blah, blah. I started making fun of him. He loves the attention. He goes into his room, comes out with his longboard, and slides on his belly on the longboard back into the living room. We're like, what the fuck is up with this class clown? He wants the attention. We are happy to pick on someone. Guys, I'm not like this anymore. Someone in my comment section was like, oh, I can't even remember the word for it. It's like a word for pretending to be a good person by saying all these like good views that you have. And I'm pretty sure it's because I said racism sucks in one of my podcasts. But what you're not understanding is I'm a good person now, but holy fuck have I walked a bumpy road. Like, I share my deepest, darkest secrets from you guys. And I didn't always have positive views. I was also very cynical, very negative, and very ignorant to the world around me when I was younger. So when I share my good views now, it's because I'm also still trying to teach myself them. Fuck, give me a break. Anyway, so he slides back. Sorry about my little tangent there. I feel like we're friends. I feel like I could talk to you. He slides back into the living room on his belly on the longboard. We're all making fun of him. He takes a turn here, though. He grabs another drink. I think this one's like a vodka, downs it, and he starts goo goo gaga babying. And this is how my TikTok friends will know this boy, because I call him baby boy. We'll call him Quinn here because, well, why not? This is fucking baby boy. This is the first time I saw his persona of him acting like a literal child. And I was like, what is going on? So I poke fun at him and I'm like, Quinn, what is going on? Why are you acting like this? I'm taking videos of him. He's loving the attention, even though he knows that we're making fun of him. The party dissipates. We go back to our rooms. My friends eventually leave. I talk to them later on and I'm like, it was actually weird that he was doing that though, don't you think? Like, I've never seen that before. And everyone agrees, yeah, there's something wrong with him, but also he's really presenting so innocent. So like, we were kind of bitches for making fun of him. We need to protect him. And he kind of found this stroke of kindness in our heart, which is rare for me at this time because I was very self-centered, where I just wanted to make sure that he was okay because he seemed unstable, but in a vulnerable kind of childlike way. Quinn and I develop a very fast friendship. Very fast friendship. I can see the hurt in him. I can see the broken in him. And I think he can see it in me too. Because early in our friendship, I text him and he's at work at Taco Bell. And I'm like, Quinn, I am broke. I have no money. I have no food. Can you bring home some free tacos? Because they get free tacos at the end of their shift. And he came home, didn't knock on my door. He placed a huge family-sized bag of tacos at my door, went to his room so that I wouldn't have to accept it from him so that there just would be food for me. And I thought that this was amazing. I was very used to people taking what they wanted from me and not offering me anything in return or like kind of dark things that I'm not going to get into. So to have him not humiliate me in a way where I had to accept the food back, like from him and thank him and all this stuff, it felt actually really nice. And he continued to do that every time he noticed that my groceries were running low. He also dropped off a Thanksgiving meal at my door when I couldn't go back to my family for the first Thanksgiving ever. Like the first Thanksgiving that I hadn't had a family at all. So it was really nice. So I began to trust him right away. And this was my grave error because like I mentioned before, I could see the hurt in him, but he could also see the hurt in me, which means I was very easy to manipulate. I was very easy to put under someone's wing. But at the same time, it was being presented to me that I was being put on a pedestal. So while Quinn is taking care of me, he's also telling me all of these amazing things about myself. I'm so perfect. He's never had a friend like me. I'm so beautiful. I'm so kind. I have adventures that he never thought that he would have. And he's just living life through me. I'm telling him all about my travels to India, to Ecuador, and he's like in awe. I feel like a god. I love being on this pedestal. To his face, I'm adoring it. Behind his back, I'm making fun of it with my friends. I am a double-edged sword, and I am a bitch. I cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. I am a bad person at this time in my life. There's kindness in me, but it's hidden by all this unhealed trauma. So I'm making fun of him to my friends, and this is encouraging my friends to speak openly and honest about him, where they say, I actually think you should probably distance yourself from him because it looks a little bit like obsession. Like, he's delivering food almost every day to you now. At this point, it's ramped up to also receiving gifts. So I'm getting like records. Oh, I almost had to sneeze. I'm getting like records to my favorite scores, to my favorite movies, my favorite soundtracks. He's giving me like his really nice quality Nike shoes, takes me out for my birthday and buys me brand new shoes, brand new jeans, brand new shirt, everything, like extravagant gifts that are not normal to give to your friends. They're like, this is getting weird. It looks like obsession. This has happened to you a couple times already. You should be able to notice these signs and pull away. Oh, your girl did see the signs. You best believe I knew what was going on and I fucking wanted it. I wanted the attention, so I accepted it. And I started to toy with how much he would deal with me. One night, and geez, I know this is bad. We were having a get together with like a couple of friends. We're all drinking. He's crawling around, acting like a baby. I go into the washroom just to use the bathroom, and I see that in the midst of him crawling around, acting like a baby, he's lost his wallet. Inside the wallet, I see dollar bills poking out, like high dollar bills, like 20s, 50s, hundreds. And I have no money at this time and no moral compass. So I reach into what I was calling my best friend at this time, wallet, and I take out all of the cash. I don't count it. I put it in my pocket. I take it for myself. I actually use it to pay my rent. Well, the next morning, he's like, I lost my wallet, so I found my wallet. All the money is gone. And I was like, well, we had some random people, this open door policy on the street. Someone went in, they took your money. And I point face blank or whatever that saying is, lied. That's definitely not the saying. I just straight up lied to his face. I convinced him, even though I think he knew the whole time that I had taken his money. I convinced him it was someone else. I paid my rent. I'm sure he was confused on how I paid my rent if he didn't 100% know I took the money. And the rest of it I used to buy drugs, which I shared with him, which I thought was a good deed at that time. Now we move into the second part of this story, when Quinn and I decide that we love drugs, especially together. With that leftover, my rent was like, God, $450, and the money that I took was like $700. Like, it was a lot. And the leftover I used to buy a bunch of cocaine, my favorite drug at this time. Cocaine, as soon as I did it, immediately all of my trauma was gone. Immediately the flashbacks from my PTSD were gone. I was the most confident person in the room. I already was, but I was more organic, oddly enough, when I was doing cocaine. Like, I could just naturally take hold of the attention in the middle of the room, which is what I always wanted. Quinn and I rack up a couple lines out of our bag. At this time, I'm starting to see my crazy ex from my TikTok stories that also had a bloody end. This is a lot of blood at this part of my life. Quinn is involved in the story times at homecoming when we do drugs together and she dislocates her arm. And also some of the times at the beginning when we're doing cocaine, she's coming over and she's doing it with us. This is before she bottled herself in the head and we had to completely remove her from our lives. So we're doing it in a group setting at first, and it's really fun because also it's not just like solo Quinn and I bouncing off each other's energy. There's like other people in the room. So it's hard for me to focus 100% on how strange she's being. But Quinn gets really used to this friend group. It's this crazy girl and her friend, and we hang out a lot with the two of them. When this whole bottling incident happens and I have to kind of remove her from our friend group, Quinn doesn't take the change well. He is not a fan of change, even if it's from friends in my life. This also is the time when I start to go out with friends without Quinn because he's a little exhausting to me, and I'll receive messages from him, urgent messages saying I need to come home and take care of him. He's smoked too much of his vape and he's given himself nicotine poisoning, which I would come home and he would be shaking because he actually did it, or like more severe things I'll get into. So this change of me wanting to spend some more time alone and distancing this girl from our friend group was too much for Quinn. He felt like he was alone. He started to really, really rely on drugs. Cocaine dealers were coming over 2, 3, 4 times a week, and I was doing it most of the time too because I wasn't working. Quinn started to pay my rent to keep me in the house to do the drugs and hang out with him. After I distanced Crazy Girl from me, I started seeing a new girl who was paying for my groceries and things like that. So I had people funding this kind of lifestyle. Quinn and I started to do drugs just by ourselves. Like, we would just talk back and forth to each other, tell each other how amazing we were. He would go through all of his life trauma, which to this day I can't remember. I would go through all of my trauma, which I'm pretty sure he didn't listen to because he would just cut off and talk about his trauma again. I remember there was one time where he went on for 6 hours about the same story, and it was like a mundane story. Like 6 hours. So these things that he was calling trauma in his childhood and what I was calling trauma in my childhood were very different. And we were just kind of saying it to say it to each other, but this in turn was making us trauma bond. The new girl I'm seeing, I think I briefly mentioned her after the crazy girl, she starts to integrate into the friendship with Quinn and I. She also loves doing drugs. She introduces us regularly to Molly. We switched from doing cocaine, which was getting very expensive, especially when I wasn't contributing to the payments at all, to something much cheaper and lasts longer and is, in my opinion, much stronger, but is a methamphetamine. And the cheap stuff that we were buying, we would find out weeks, months later, actually, that it was much, much closer to actual meth than it was to MDMA is what we were trying to do, but we were actually doing something much closer to like meth, like the thing that people do on the streets. And still, you can see that I have a lot of ignorance surrounding these topics about drugs, which is why it's so absurd how many drugs I did with how little knowledge I actually have. These stronger drugs, though, like the meth side of things, really, really fuck with your psyche. So for me, my depression was skyrocketing. My PTSD was skyrocketing when I wasn't on drugs. For Quinn, who is schizophrenic, that was starting to happen. He was starting to show symptoms. He was not schizophrenic before. He was, but it was dormant. Quinn is acting like a baby every single time we do drugs. He starts to act like a baby sooner. It's more severe. He doesn't physically walk anymore. He crawls. Sometimes we have to rock him to sleep, me and this girl that I'm seeing. It's starting to actually become full-time babysitting. I tell the girl I'm seeing, listen, this is getting too much for me. I am nobody's caregiver. I fucking hate, to this day, having to take care of someone emotionally who's not doing any emotional work because of how much emotional work I've had to do myself to get here. Like, I feel like we're all capable of it, and I'm not going to pull you into a healthy position. I'll help, but you need to be doing the work yourself. So he was pissing me off. He was grinding my gears. And I tell her, and she says, yeah, like, I'm actually moving out of my parents' house. She had been traveling. When she came back, she moved in with her parents' house. She's like, I'm moving out and you should move in with me because I can afford the rent on my own and we're in love. No such thing as love on drugs, but we're in love. You move in with me. And I was like, this is fantastic. Also, my house is grimy, gross, dirty. Like, I was living with like 7 boys. It's just not the place I want to be, especially not with Quinn anymore. I move in to this girl's house, which is a brand new sanctuary that breeds all type of drug abuse for me because now we are alone together with her income from a corporate job that she got downtown right next to the dealer. So also, I genuinely think I'm in love with this girl. So I didn't want Quinn around. I just wanted to do drugs with her. We both love doing them. So we're starting every night at like 7 p.m., going straight until 7 a.m. It's phenomenal. It's the best 12 hours of my week, 3 times a week, and then the rest is shit. One of these nights that I'm doing all these drugs with this girl, I get a call from Red. He says, Ellie, he's panicked over the phone. Ellie, you need to get back right now. Nobody knows you moved out. Quinn is freaking the fuck out. He's hung himself in the basement. I know exactly what this is. I have received so many emergency calls, maybe like 10 at this point, which is a lot of emergency calls. Keep in mind, this has been like 6 months of friendship. So that's like 2 a month, over 2 a month of these emergency calls that he's close to death. I know this is a trap to get me to come back to the house that I haven't been at in a while. And because I suddenly just left one day because I'm not good at goodbyes and I didn't want to deal with the change. And like I said, I was selfish. I drive back to the house. The girl that I'm seeing is worried. She's like, hanging yourself sounds pretty severe. And I was like, no, you don't fucking understand. This is some fucking ploy to get me back here so he can hang out with me again, spend the night with me because he needs me. I walk into the house. He's sitting there perfectly fine on the couch. Red is beside him, comforting him, consoling him. He's got baby eyes on. His eyes are literally different when he turns into a baby. Literally different. I walk in, I say, no, Quinn, talk to me. Not a baby. Talk to me. What happened? And he doesn't speak. And Red's like, I found him with an electrical wire, screaming, trying to hang himself in the basement. And I said, show me where. And Red brings me downstairs, shows me a pillar that is head, like less than a head above me, which means on my tippy toes, Quinn is the same height as me. If I had an electrical wire around my neck on that pillar, on that thing hanging from the ceiling, I wouldn't be able to suffocate myself. My feet would be able to touch the floor. It's not physically fucking possible for Quinn to hang himself here. I lose my shit. I wanted to check the scene because I was like, okay, if this looks real, like if I see something that's actually real, not like a limp wire hanging over this fucking pillar, I'll believe it. No. I walk back upstairs. I do my last bit of investigating by looking at Quinn's neck. I have toyed with suicide so much in my life. This is not something I like to fucking joke about. I have had my fair dealings with suicide. I look at his neck. Oh my God. I look at his neck and I'm like, there's going to be trauma on his neck from this plastic electrical wire that he used. If he really did try to break his neck by just like jumping down heavy on this electrical wire and holding his feet up, maybe that's true. I look, not even a red mark. By the time I got the call from Red, who was taking him down from the ceiling, he says, to the time I got to the house is probably 15 minutes. The marks wouldn't be gone. I look at Red and I said, he faked it. And Red's like, no. I caught him just in time. And I said, how? And Red said, he was screaming. And I was like, for you to come find him? Do you know how small this house is? Do you know how many people are in this house? If he really wanted to do this, he would have been dead fucking silent. I know how this works. This is a call for attention, and it's not a fucking healthy one. It's not a call for help from a doctor for something, because if it was, we'd take him to the hospital. No, this is a call for me to come back to the house so he can keep me under his fucking thumb so he doesn't have to be alone anymore. I look at him and I was like, you're lying, aren't you? And he said nothing, but his eyes switched from baby back to normal. And I was like, Quinn, are you lying right now? And he just sits there, no emotion, nothing. And I was like, fuck this. Fuck all of you. I am not ever coming back here. I'm fucking leaving. And I go, and I'm sorry for all the swearing, but this story makes me angry. And I go back to the house with her, the girl I'm seeing, and I'm like, listen, like, I'm sorry. And she's like, I know, like, I've been by your side. I've gotten these phone calls from him. This is insane. It wouldn't be the last one, though. I receive a message, like, the next day, apologizing. Yes, it was a staged event. Yes, he just wanted my attention. He just wants to be my friend. He's getting help. He's going to therapy. He's talking to his family. Everything's going to be okay. Can he just be in my life again? I was like, whatever, sure, come over. I still like the attention. Like, I also I had toyed with some thoughts that night, being like, what if I was wrong? You know, like I had guilt in me. So when he came back apologizing, I was like, let's just forget about it. We continue up our regular routine of doing drugs. We just don't do it at the party house anymore. We do it at the new house. One of the most important nights from the new house is my birthday. I had always wanted to get my makeup done. So at 11 a.m. after my birthday, which I should have known myself, I was going to get my makeup done by a professional makeup artist who was going to come to my house and just put it on. And then we were going to go out for lunch. But a birthday for a drug addict? I guess addict is a loose term. I think I'm more of a drug abuser. Drug abuser for a birthday, it's like a big event. It's an excuse to go on a bender. So we pick up just a mix of everything. You know, we pick up Molly, cocaine, weed, a shit ton of alcohol. I'm wearing like a brand new outfit. I feel incredible. We're going to a cowboy bar. I'm not sure why. We do all of our drugs. And I fucking mean all of them. All of them. We go to the bar. It's not a ton of fun. We're seeing a bunch of people that we know. We're all kind of geeked out on all these drugs. My eyes are, one pupil's bigger than the other, and I really don't like when I look like that. So I'm just like, let's go back to our house and like continue the high there. I don't want the night to end, but I just don't want to be in public anymore. I also noticed that Quinn is acting like baby too much in public, and I don't like that kind of attention. So let's bring him back. When he gets back to the house, he has a actual psychotic break. We had spent a couple more hours drinking. I think we had some more drugs that we did. It was about 7 or 8 a.m. at this point. Keep in mind, the hairdresser is coming soon, or the makeup artist is coming soon. Quinn goes into my bedroom, crouches down next to the dresser, and starts blood-curdling screaming that his father's in the room. And I go up to him and I say, Quinn, no, he's not here. I grab his arms and I hold him. I also like to be the person that like looks like a good person in this scenario, like the person that takes care of him. So like, don't think I'm being kind. I'm operating still out of my own ego here. I crouch next to him. I'm like, Quinn, he's not here. Don't worry. You're totally safe. You're with me. You're with loved ones. You're with Ellie. He starts beating the fuck out of me. He's a strong kid. Like, he's strong. And, he's screaming, I think, you're my dad, get away from me. He thinks that I'm his father. He starts having these hallucinations, or continues to have these hallucinations, for about an hour and a half, until he eventually tires himself and just passes out and goes to sleep. Get a knock at the door. It must have been from about 7 a.m. until 11 a.m. because I get a knock at the door. My eyes are fucked. I haven't slept. I smell like a pack of cigarettes. Hair is disheveled. There's someone slightly whimpering while they sleep in the background. And she's like, "Hi, I'm here to do the birthday girl's makeup." And I was like, "I'll just pay you. You should probably go." And she was like, "Oh." I was like, Here, just please go." And she's like, Okay, probably scared the fuck out of that girl. She's like, "What is going on in that house?" You would have thought after this incident with Quinn that I would not further the relationship with him, that I would get him help and maybe let him heal on his own, because I'm enabling this. And this drug use that I have with him is part of the reason his schizophrenia was triggered. No, nope, I don't do that. I move in with him. Me, this girl that I'm seeing, and Quinn move into a new apartment together. Our drug abuse at this apartment has got, like our previous one that we're moving out of, has gotten to be so bad that our downstairs neighbors can't sleep anymore, and they are 911 call operators. And so our drug use until 7, 8, 9, 10, sometimes 11 a.m. is disruptive to them. And the landlord of this house is the girl I'm seeing's mom's partner. So it's all interconnected, and we're worried they're going to find out about our drug abuse. So we move. We moved downtown to the strip of bars. We were downtown before, but like a 15-minute walk from the bars. Now we're a 2-minute walk from the bars. The three of us are in full drug abuse swing. We asked Quinn to move in with us. I cannot tell you the logic behind this. It has to be ego-driven. It has to be because I wanted attention. It has to be. What would be the other reason, right? All right. The house that we have is huge. We had it furnished from some college students who are going away back to their hometown. School's out for the summer, and it is warm. It's drinking weather, and they have shitty, dingy furniture that's already in the apartment. So we walk in and we're set up to party. Me and the girls share a room. Quinn is the room right next to us. I hope you're still here. I hope you still have a fresh cup of coffee, because this second part of this story is where things get fucking crazy. Really fucking crazy. We are full-fledged probably drug addicts at this point. We're going out 3, 4, 5 times a week. I'm flipping burgers sometimes to make money. This girl that I'm seeing is maintaining a corporate job. She's the moneymaker of the house. Quinn is working at Taco Bell still, and I think he's working at Sport Check or something. He's also making a ton of money. And this subsidized apartment that we're living in is so cheap for the three of us to share. It's phenomenal. They're buying all of our drugs. Quinn is doing drugs on his own sometimes just to play Fortnite. There's a constant flow of smoke in the house from cigarettes, weed, everything. One of the nights in this apartment, I trauma bond with Quinn heavily. I'm up late at night because I'm dealing with some suicidal thoughts. Suicide is a really big part of this part of my story, and then for the next 6 years until I really figure out how to deal with it. But I'm having a sleepless night thinking about, geez, I just kind of want to end it all. So I go out to my balcony and I throw my legs over. I'm on the 11th floor. I throw one leg over and I start leaning my body weight over, above, past my balance point, just to toy with the idea to see what it would feel like to go off. Well, at the same time, 3 floors above me, someone was doing that exact same thing, except he had already decided he did want to kill himself. He swung both legs over the balcony and he jumped from the 14th floor, past me, directly past me on the 11th floor, and he hit the ground. He did not die on impact. He screamed, a scream that I will never, ever, ever get out of my psyche. Deep, low, and just so painful. My God. And he was torn apart on the ground. I don't even know how he managed to scream, but he did. And I threw my leg back over the balcony and I just stood there looking. I backed up because I couldn't look at his body, and the police came, and I'll never forget this. They stood around his body and laughed, cleaned it up, and nothing happened the next day. It was gone. His apartment was, and it still is to this day. It still is, because I went back to visit this town. It still is like this. Got taped up with black plastic to cover the windows in the balcony. And The next night after he died, his brother, who also was living in the building, threw a party. So I was already dealing with suicide. I saw this man take his life, the world move on, make jokes, and party immediately after. And I realized just how much, like, he had a family and I have no family and nobody that's looking out for me. And I realized how much no one would give an actual flying fuck if I died. And I dropped into the deepest, darkest fucking depression ever. The only thing that could make me feel better was drugs and Quinn. This story of someone committing suicide in front of me is the reason I bonded with Quinn so heavily again. I'm fine to take care of him as he crawls around the house, now sober as a baby. It doesn't take drugs or alcohol to get him to start acting like this. He crawls around most of the time now. I take care of him. He starts to act really manic, really psychotic. Every time I open my bedroom door, he'll be standing there, just listening. If I ever want to have sex with my partner, he will also listen at the door. Gifts start showing up on my bed again, like they did before at the first house. He starts getting very livid if I spend time with anyone else, so I completely isolate myself to only him. He starts questioning his sexuality at this age, at this time really, he's the same age as me. And he starts going out by himself to explore dates with men on Grindr. I condone this because I'm a lesbian, so I'm happy that he's exploring his sexuality, but he's exploring it by blacking out first and then just hooking up with someone randomly, like either on Grindr or at the bar, which resulted in him getting raped a lot of times. So he was dealing with that kind of trauma too. We surround ourselves with really terrible people who are really enabling the drug use, and we can feel that there is like a climax coming because the drug use is spilling into weekdays. It's turning into 5, sometimes 6 days a week. Quinn is up all the time now, pretty much doing coke, playing Fortnite if he's not partying with us. The relationship with this girl is starting to go sour because she starts to hate Quinn because he's acting fucking bizarre all the time. I tell her that she's crazy for ditching me with him, that she can't leave. I force her to stay. This girl starts coming around. Quinn has started to see this new girl. We start telling her, don't be around him. He's crazy. The things that he's saying to you are not true. He acts like a baby a lot of the time. He has really deep hallucinations. He's a drug addict like the rest of us. Stay away, stay away, stay away. She does. There's one night, and this is the biggest night. Me and this girl have started to distance ourselves from Quinn because he's taking the drugs too far and he's freaking us the fuck out. He's putting himself in rape situations pretty much every other day at this point, and it's just all too much. And for someone so self-centered like me at that time, I just didn't want to focus on it. So we start spending more and more time alone and not explaining to him why. We start trying to avoid him. We start getting mad at him for standing at our door and telling him to just kind of back the fuck off. And his babiness is turning into anger. He starts running around saying he hates me. He'll have these fits of like manic episodes being like, Ellie's the source of all evil, all this stuff. And I fucking hate him at this point because my mom used to say that shit to me. So don't you dare come up to me and say I'm the source of all fucking evil. We are both low energy right now, and you take accountability for your shit and I'll take accountability for mine, but we're both in this. It's not just my fucking fault. So he starts fucking hating me. Hating me. And I come in one day to the house. The girl that I'm seeing, this is the climax, so I hope you're ready. The girl I'm seeing is in our bedroom. I come in, he's running around screaming. Our house has like a circular path that you can run around in, like through the kitchen, the living room. It keeps going around and around in circles. He's running around screaming all of these profanities towards me. He hates me. He hates me. And I just snap and I look at him and I was like, I fucking hate you, Quinn. I fucking hate you. Get the fuck out of my house. I never want to see you again. I never want to have a conversation with you. You're done. I go into his room and I was like, this is a shrine to me. All of these photos of me everywhere. All of these gifts that you're waiting to give me. I can see it all. It's disgusting. You're a stalker. And I lose my shit. And I go, like, I say those exact things. I'm not even sure if that's too far. I hit a breaking point. He runs into the kitchen and grabs a chef's knife. It's about a 7-8 inch chef's knife. Sprints into the bathroom, throws the door open, stands into the bathtub, and cuts on the forearm from his elbow area down to his wrist. Not on the back, on the front, like where all the major nerves are. After the first one, he reaches over and he does the exact same thing on the second one. All while screaming and looking at me saying, this is your fault, Ellie. This is your fault. I hate you. Blood is spewing everywhere. All over the bathroom. The screaming has been intensified. The girl I'm seeing is used to the screaming that he hates me, the running around the house stuff, but it's gotten worse. She can feel that it's gotten worse. She can hear it's gotten worse. She runs out. She sees the blood. She calls 911. At the same time, this girl that he's seeing was invited over too. She comes in the front door. She sees him like this. She loses her mind and sprints away. I'm in shock. I'm frozen in my spot, staring at the situation. I can't move. I can't speak. I'm in full absorption mode as he's screaming that this is all because of me. People are rushing to help him. And I'm thinking to myself, this is all because of me. This is all my fault. He has cut so deep into his arms. I remember seeing silver. I don't know why I remember seeing silver, like flashes of silver and like layers of skin just open. He gets sent in an ambulance immediately to a hospital because he will die if he does not go right now. And I think that might have been his intention to actually kill himself in front of me. I don't remember what happened next. I remember seeing him get loaded up on a gurney. I remember walking back into my apartment, and then it's hours until someone shows up at the door, and it's the girl I'm seeing's mother, and she has like a bunch of cleaning supplies, and we all solemnly go into the bathroom and cry at the same time and clean up this person's blood. And we are using big orange sponges and squeezing them out over buckets just to get rid of all of his blood. He has soaked everything in that bathroom. When he's ran around after getting out of the tub to, like, I can't remember, my memory is so spotty. This was really, really traumatizing to me. There's blood splatters around the house that we have to scrub out of the carpet as well. After I kind of settle from this, I go into his room and I take every single item that he has that relates to me. He's collected tokens from everything we've done together. Photos of me are printed out, everything. Old clothing items like sweaters that I didn't want anymore, he's taken. I take them all back. I pack up all his stuff and I put it in a corner, and I get a text message or a phone call, sorry. The girl I'm seeing gets a phone call to her phone from the hospital. It's him. He is begging to talk to me. Absolutely begging to talk to me, saying he's so sorry. He just needs me to feel better. He just needs me. I say, no, I'm never talking to him again. And the last thing that I heard from him was that he went back to my crazy ex, the one that bottled herself. If you know from my TikTok stories, I can do a full podcast on her later on. He went back to her, messaged her, told her how crazy I was and that all of this was my fault. She said the same thing about her story, and they became best friends and still are. And they are sharing that I am the reason for both of them severely harming themselves, which is just not fucking true. And that is the end of this wildly angering story that I have about fucking baby boy Quinn, the roommate that turned bloody. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I have such a treat for those of you that made it to the end. You get a special announcement. One of my favorite creators is coming on as the first collaboration on We Don't Judge Here. I'm excited to release who it is. She does day in the life videos. I'll release a couple hints. Day in the life videos. She goes by a nickname that's a planet, and her video style is so unique. I've never seen it before. She talks a lot about the things that she's healed from, a lot about her own mental health. I just can't wait to have her on. It's coming shortly. I won't release the name yet. Thank you. I burped right at the end. Thank you so much for watching, listening. I love making these podcasts for you. I hope you like this story. I'm sorry I got so angry there. I'm so grateful for the community that we have here. Stay tuned. I gotta go. Love you guys.